could I put an amendment on that? It would include hanging by a tree also. And also, I would like to sign on to your bill, sir. Thank you.
Lynching is a very real, painful, and ironically, folks, America, we just passed anti-lynching laws. Just did that about yesterday. That was in 2022, if you can believe that or not. But let's take a look at the lynching stats. Lynch mobs in the old Confederate states, including Tennessee, killed 2,800 people. Tennessee had 214 confirmed lynch victims during this period. 37 victims were white, 177 were African American. Tennessee ranks 6th in the nation in the number of lynchings, behind Mississippi, Georgia, Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama. And you would think that this mofo, thank you, Kathy Bennett, Tennessee Encyclopedia, he knows this history, but he don't care. And obviously the community that elected him, they don't care either. Because sometimes, we got to look in all types of mirrors on how a fool like this got elected. And in her seminal book, The Red Record, Ida B. Wells Barnett, an activist, a businesswoman, a freedom fighter, and an investigative journalist who took on the lies of lynching when it came particularly to black men. Black women were lynched. We know that white people were lynched too, but most of that venom went towards black people. It was domestic terrorism to keep them in line because they was getting a little too uppity, feeling like they need to be treated equally in the land of their damn birth. They was just going too far, dreaming too big, reaching too high. That is what this lynching was about. And Ida B. Wells took on the system and exposed it for what it was. A bunch of weak-willed white men. That's what it was all about. So let's look at what she had to say in her seminal book about the horrors of lynching, the lynching states. And there they go, enumerated in the same way that we just enumerated those by Kathy Bennett in the Tennessee Encyclopedia, but in her book, The Red Record. And I really encourage people to read it. Now, this is what she had captured at the time, right? Serious stuff. And let's take a look at something else that Ida B. Wells had to say that she discovered in her investigative journalism about lynching. Not only is it true that many of the alleged cases of rape against the Negro, because that was the first charge that these white men who thought that way, that's the first thing that they would say, are like the foregoing, but the same crime committed by white men, come on, let's rest right here, by white men against Negro women and girls is never punished by the mob or by the law. You better go ahead on and say that, Ida B. Wells Barnett. She did say it. She told the truth on this, and she didn't mince words. See, because black women and black girls, our bodies, our hearts, our minds, our souls didn't matter. And white men could take us at will and did take us at will. Didn't matter. And Ida B. Wells Barnett laid it out when she said, hey, against the Negro woman and girls is never punished by mob or by law. A leading journal in South Carolina openly said some months ago that it is not the same thing for a white man to assault a colored woman as for a colored man to assault a white woman, because the colored woman had no finer feelings, no virtue to be outraged. In other words, America, black women and black girls don't have any feelings that the white America ought to care about. She can be taken at any time and was taken at any time. You want to talk about domestic terrorism, but nobody cared about the black bodies and black minds and black souls of black women and the black men who had to sit up there and deal with it, or be lynched or killed. They could take black women and black girls at will at any age, and did so on a regular basis in this country. Ida B. Wells set it off straight. Her other point, yet colored women have always had far more reason to complain of white men in this respect than ever white women had of Negroes. Hello, somebody on that. Now this Paul Sherrell is a bigot, and he needs to go. In Tennessee, you should be ashamed of yourself for letting a man like that even go to the legislature. This is happening in real time in 2023. This ain't 1823. It wasn't all right then. This ain't 1723. It wasn't all right then. This is not 1623. It wasn't all right then. All these microaggressions and stuff that black people got to continue to endure, and y'all give power like this to this man? Lynching by a tree? Y'all go ahead and read Out to Be Whales. Y'all read it. This man is also participating in introducing legislation to change the name of a street from John Lewis Way to Donald Trump Boulevard. I mean, we can't make this stuff up. JB, I know we got to go to the next story, but I'm telling you, I'm fit to be tied, and I am not going to pretend like this is all right, that the transgressions of this nation don't have real impact to this very day. And if people are too shallow or too fragile to understand it, I'm sorry.
That's absolutely right. I think the only thing I would add that we haven't already said yet on this story is that black folks in the United States are incarcerated 5 times the rate of white folks. So when you think about the laws within our criminal justice system and what's going on in states like Tennessee, in Mississippi, there are prison contracts where prisoners who are disproportionately black are doing labor, and they have occupancy promises where the state says, we'll keep the prison at this occupancy. So at that point, you're incarcerating people for the purpose of maintaining this contract so that they do labor for $2 an hour. For people to look at the United States prison system and not see it as the continuation of slavery in a slightly different form is ridiculous to me. And then to add lynchings as a formal part of that system is additionally disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting. I am disgusted. Tennessee, we looking at you. There needs to be outrage, and it shouldn't only be black people who are outraged by this. America,